So for people who say that let us make do with the existing airport, sorry, the existing airport is a compromise at this point in time, not necessarily because of the passenger experience, and this is spoken about that better at this point in time.
Think fast, but we need to act rapidly if we are to fulfill the dreams which can be realized. Because the entire vision of India as a global player comes with a robust infrastructure, and this is one infrastructure where the gap is huge.
It is not just the airport, it is also the expressway that leads to the airport, and unless it is planned along with the airport.
It's quite sad because on a standalone basis, the well-run airport can give you a margin of about 30 to 35%. It's a very profitable one, but the operational word is not the profitability, it's well-run airport.
All the old airports. Chennai airport only had about 5 aerobases. No other airport had. I used to be very proud in saying that Engoorla we have 5 aerobases. We were so advanced. Chennai was the gateway to all the entire south.
Whatever we try with this airport, the apron area is restricted. We cannot grow beyond this. Because every time we speak about a second airport, there's a counter view that comes and says, what are we doing with the existing airport in the first place?
Good evening, everyone. Again, I think if most of you had traveled to Bangalore or Hyderabad, and then when you come back to the Chennai airport, you definitely think, why the Chennai airport is like this, right? Very few Indian cities can really claim a relationship with aviation that is very deep and enduring as Chennai. I think Chennai, way back in 1910, it demonstrated the first power plane, so it has been always on the aviation map. The history of Meenambakam is also closely associated with it. The airport subsequently evolved into. So if you take Meenambakam was that like Chennai to Miga Argamir and the Madru Redom. But today that is where the epicenter of Chennai is. It has metamorphosed into this economic hub. Chennai itself has transformed a lot from then. It is one of the highest exporting states in the country. It is a top leader in semiconductors, electronics, and also a gateway for medical tourism and very richly connected research and educational hubs. With all these plus points, there's something that Chennai lacks, and that is the entry into the city through the airport. So in this panel discussion, like Adi introduced, we have eminent guests with us. Maybe we won't discuss the point of where, but why, and how urgently we need a second airport is where we'll start this discussion. So maybe, sir, if I can start with Krishnan, sir, you're from the logistics industry. For many people, airport is related to passengers. From your perspective, could you explain why cargo may actually be the stronger argument for a second airport?
Mumbai and Chennai are unique in that they are port cities which also have a hub airport. You may take Cochin, but Cochin is not in the same scale. And this advantage of modes is rarely seen across any parts of many cities in the world. In that, Chennai is extremely unique that you have a gateway through the marine mode and a gateway through the air mode. That being the case, the port of Chennai has catalyzed the industrial environment of Chennai. And the port of Chennai also saw the same hiccups that the airport in Chennai is facing, namely congestion, lack of expansion. But the port came up with intelligent ways to solve it, one being the container freight stations. Then we had the second port at Ennore and then subsequently at Kattupalli. Within a 30 nautical mile radius, you have 3 major ports sitting side by side serving the interests of Chennai and the trade of Chennai. But when it comes to the aviation sector, we missed the bus 30 years ago. It's not today or yesterday. We missed the bus 30 years ago. Let me take back you to 3 cities: Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, or even Bangalore. Mumbai had the Juhu airport originally. Delhi had the Safdarjung airport. Hyderabad had Shamshabad airport, and Bangalore had the Indiranagar airport. But then in 30 years, 40 years, those cities woke up early, realized that an airport sitting bang in the heart of the city is not going to allow any expansion or exploitation of the commercial opportunities and potentials that exist. And they have wisely chosen to create new infrastructure. Whatever be the reasons, our planners have failed in this and failed miserably. So we are now in a situation where from good, bad, the ugly, we have moved to the ugly. There is no level lower that you can descend. And to move up, the opportunities are not available. And the uncertainties that surrounds for this creation of infrastructure is also very, very, very huge. Contrast that with what the state is performing in the industries and the services. It is one of the premier states of India, contributing to the tax kitty, contributing to employment, and contributing to an extremely motivated and a very, very non-militant workforce. Very few states in India can boast of these advantages, and we have not leveraged these advantages. An airport, again, let me tell you, statistically, 85% of the world trade uses the marine mode. So, and if you look at the air cargo significance, if you leave away the air, the road, and the rail, it's hardly 2.5% to 3%. But having said that, value terms, 3% contributes 35% of your value. That is where air cargo's advantages come in. And Chennai, with its focus now on the semiconductor, IT, ITES, more and more of cargo are going to choose the air mode of transportation. And to create an infrastructure that can sustain over a long period of time, the current infrastructure is highly inadequate. We need to think fast. It is not just enough we think fast, we need to act rapidly. You think fast, but we need to act rapidly if we are to fulfill the dreams which can be realized. Because the entire vision of India as a global player comes with a robust infrastructure, and this is one infrastructure where the gap is huge.
Thank you for your views, sir. Perhaps from a manufacturing perspective, Mr. Girish, if you could say, Chennai is the Detroit of Asia, and it's one of the manufacturing capitals of the country. What are your experience and that from your peers who are in and around Chennai? Is the airport capacity becoming a factor in decisions of expansion, investment, and talent attraction also?
I represent Guindy Industrial Estate Manufacturers Association and the president of the association. Guindy Industrial Estate was inaugurated in 1958. The first industrial estate in the country, which was started along with the Okla in Delhi. Those days, Guindy was away from the city. The airport was further away, so we were closer towards the airport. About the center of the city was around Paris, and then about 60 kilometers away or 50 kilometers away, further distance. So it made sense for them to have an industrial estate very close to the airport. Now, if you come to Guindy, you will not recognize Guindy. It's all full of IT parks. Again, it is an advantage for us because we are very close to the airport. Because we were able to, attract a lot of investments from MSMEs and bigger companies all these years. Because again, we were very close to the airport, our connectivity is very good. People could come in. Right after the IT boom started in OMR, Guindy was the next choice. because the main business district was very crowded. Parking was an issue. So Guindy rightly fitted into that category, and we are there. But now the present airport, yes, it is very sad to say that all the other airports have all grown to a different level. Bangalore, if you see the new terminal, it's like amazing. Unfortunately, Chennai has lost the race, as Sir rightly said. There used to be a time, I don't know, many of you would know or not, about 25, 30 years back, Chennai had, when all the other old airports were there, all the old airports, Chennai airport only had about 5 aero bridges. No other airport had. I used to be very proud in saying that Yangoorla we have 5 aero bridges. We were so advanced. Chennai was the gateway to all the entire south. Major connectivity was there in Chennai. They used to come to Chennai, and from there they used to go to all the other cities. Such was the pride which we had. But we've lost. But then now they've identified a space which again is not very far, about 68 kilometers or 65 kilometers away from Chennai, which is going to be the right space again. You have huge industrial activities. Why again I'm coming back to India is because we had visionaries in those days who had started an industrial estate. They wanted to develop industrial estate. What we are in terms of industrial economic powerhouse, second in the country, is all because of these visionaries who wanted to develop Tamil Nadu as an industrial powerhouse. They brought in all these bigger companies into our state. We are now what we are because of this. Sadly, the thought of another airport did not come into it. But I'm sure that now with the right team and the right push, we'll be able to get another airport soon. We'll work towards that together.
Just to touch on that, do you think manufacturing, like investment decisions, is this a talking point when it comes?
Yeah, it is. It is very much. Any new industry, when it comes, you need to have a connectivity. Part of the association, we do regular delegation visits to European countries. A lot of investments. I'm looking at not the bigger one. We're looking at the SME to SME level companies. The connectivity is much better to Bangalore. They prefer to come to Bangalore. We have all the higher offices based out of Bangalore compared to Chennai. So manufacturing wise and industry investment wise, it is a very good motivator to bring in those investments. They like the city, they like the Tamil Nadu, they know everything about Tamil Nadu, they want to be in Tamil Nadu. Somehow or the other, the airport.
It does stay a spoiled sport. Yeah. Thank you. Mr. Phanindra Reddy, sir, I want you. So, like I asked them, when global visitors visit Chennai, because I've hosted many of them, what is their impression? Do they like about connectivity? Do they compare it with other cities as such? What is their first impression when they usually come to Chennai? Is the airport a talking point then?
There are many pluses with Chennai. Airport infrastructure, of course, it stands as a negative today. But otherwise, I think there are many attractions. Skilled workforce, a conservative society, which places discipline above recreation and personal greed, and skilled workforce, and then the medical infrastructure. See, all these are pluses, and a good industrial climate and ancillary industry. All these are well developed and long standing. That way, you have experienced manufacturing backbone here. Now, when it comes to infrastructure, any infrastructure project, when the capacity hits 75%, you go to the drawing board. And by the time it hits 90%, you are there with the capacity implemented. That's the norm. And when you are implementing a capacity, it is for the next 30 years, 50 years. That's the capacity you plan. Now, that's what we should have done. We have missed the bus, unfortunately. But the positive thing is that we have caught up, and we have now started the work on the second airport. And with that, I think we should be able to catch up with the lost opportunity. And in fact, the present capacity, the expanded capacity is supposed to be exhausted by 2028. And we are again staring at a lack of capacity by then. And in terms of cargo handling infrastructure, I think we are woefully lacking, and the opportunities are taken up by other cities. So that's where we need to focus, and certainly it's a need of the hour. It has to be a priority for the government to ensure that the second airport is brought in good time.
Thank you, sir. So, Mr. Vijay, please. So, AirAsia India was born from Chennai, like we discussed yesterday, and you have had the ringside view of the story. When airlines choose Chennai as its launch base, what strengths did you see in the process as an aviation market, maybe, and also why hasn't Chennai emerged as the next aviation hub?
That's something that still baffles me. This was in 2013 when we decided to set up, and you don't have airline companies coming very often in a country. I mean, once in 5 years, once in 7 years, a new airline company comes in. So when we came in 2013, we were very keen to set this up only in Chennai, primarily because we believe that Chennai had a huge market, because in 2013, Chennai was the third largest airport in the country. We were the third largest airport in the country by a mile. The fourth airport was Calcutta, which was probably at about 80% of our footfall. And that was the kind of delta that we had. And the idea was to make Chennai the hub, the hub for Southeast Asia. So at that point in time, for various reasons, suffice it to say that we couldn't go ahead with Chennai. And considering that the Bangalore airport was a privately managed airport, the decision making was a lot more quicker and very, very interesting thoughts. And there was genuine intent. I mean, if I have to call a spade, I'll have to tell you that there was very genuine intent from the Bangalore airport to get an airline company to hub there. So we actually went ahead there. But the big picture, if you look at it, and just permit me to give you my thoughts, I'll try to keep it as concise here. But the big picture is the growth of any city. I mean, if I were to ask you to name the top 5 cities in Asia, invariably, I think we would talk about Hong Kong, Dubai, Tokyo, Singapore. And it's not a coincidence that each of these 5 cities are an aviation hub. They are a hub. You have a lot of transit. Aircrafts. It's unbelievable how hubs metamorphose itself into leading cities in the continent. So, well, as Mr. Krishnan said, sir, I'll tell you, I don't think we missed the bus 30 years back. Even 10 years back, there was a possibility to rein it in, and we missed it. Today, the biggest challenge is we speak about capacity being constrained in the Chennai airport. The capacity can be looked at in threefold. One, at the apron side where the runways, one at the runway side where can the current operations really support growth. The second is at the apron side. Do we have enough parking space? Can I have big aircrafts come and land and go? And the third is, of course, the terminal, which is where most of us are exposed to as passengers. A lot has been spoken over the last decade about how Chennai runway, the current airport runway, needs an upgrade and how we need to be smarter with the entire runway bit. But I have a slightly differing view. The issue is not that. Whatever we try with this airport, the apron area is restricted. We cannot grow beyond this. Because every time we speak about a second airport, there's a counter view that comes and says, what are we doing with the existing airport in the first place? No, I think that first needs to be broken. Whatever you do, there is only so much that you can do with the existing airport. For instance, fun fact, Airbus A380, which is one of the most premium aircrafts, cannot land in Chennai. Not because we don't have the runway width to do it. We actually have the runway ability to do it. But we are not that, I think it's category E or F. We are not category F. We are not a category F approved airport because we don't have the required width or the apron area to be able to handle a 380. Are you telling me that this is something that can be sorted with additional investment in the current airport? I doubt it. Similarly, an Airbus A350. Bangalore can handle about, I'm given to understand, Bangalore can handle about 15 A350s at the same time. 15. So in the night, let's say there are about 7 or 8 airline companies operating at the same time. Bangalore can aramse handle it. Chennai can handle 4 or 5. Now, what is the solution for this? Are we saying that we're going to invest in the existing airport and make do with it? Impossible. The second thing is, we need a second airport in a much, much larger area, because today I think the current airport is about 1,300 acres. If you look at the Bangalore airport, and I keep going back to Bangalore more out of angst at this point in time, because in front of our eyes, we lost Bangalore. In front of our eyes, and it's very painful. Bangalore airport is spread over 5,000 to 6,000 acres. So we are roughly running at 1/3 or 1/4 of the Bangalore size, and we are not going to be able to compete with that. So the case for the second airport is extremely solid. So for people who say that let us make do with the existing airport, sorry, the existing airport is a compromise at this point in time, not necessarily because of the passenger experience, and less is spoken about that, the better at this point in time, but primarily because I don't think we have the ability to handle larger aircrafts. So there's a lot more that we need to do. Emphatic response, we need a second airport. How long is it going to build a second airport? At least 5 to 7 years. So we should have started the work on it at least on an yesterday basis. That's my view.
So when we are planning the second airport, like logistics is getting affected with the present one. So what should we plan with the second airport? Like you said earlier, we have been in hub for logistics and it was an integrated model.
Draw a distinction between passenger, because an off-airport facility to process the cargo, to unitize the cargo and bring it to the airport for uplift, what we call as an air freight station, is a very, very doable at Delhi as well. Delhi has got an air freight station. You would be very surprised to know Chennai was the first airport to have CWC Virugambakam declared as a air freight station. Unfortunately, died. That for various commercial reasons, not for operational reasons, commercial reasons. Now, looking into a new generation airport, it's just a cargo terminal is not the answer. It's not the answer. You need a cargo village. Look at Kelsaba. You need a cargo village where many activities can happen simultaneously. You need connectivity, not just a road connectivity. You need a rail connectivity. And going forward, you need a drone connectivity. So that's going to happen, and more payload is going to be available. So when you are creating an airport, even before creating an airport, you need to talk about connectivity. And unfortunately, that focus, even today, to identify an airport, that focus is missing. That focus is missing. Even Bangalore, which we all gaga about, the metro line to connect it is yet to be built. And it's a nightmare for anybody from Chennai to go to Bangalore by flight. It makes sense to travel there or take a train. It is not that Bangalore has given us a solution, but we can learn from that. We can learn from that when we are going to go ahead. We are a late starter, but we have to go. The priority to me would be connectivity. And if I get my connectivity right, even if I'm going to be 120 kilometers away from Chennai, my high-speed trains, my metros, my other mode of transport is going to take me there in about 20, 25 minutes or 30 minutes. Similarly, look at Tokyo. The airport is far away from the city. But as a passenger, I do all my activities in the city and I just walk with my handbag into that airport and get onto the flight. That's the thing, a city processing area. It can be done for passengers. Why can't be done by cargo? Cargo can move. Today, Bangalore airport feeds cargo for aircrafts landing at Bangalore, being picked up at Chennai and taken on bonded trucks. Taken on bonded trucks. Every day, bonded trucks depart for Bangalore, picked up cargo originating from Chennai, customs cleared at Chennai. So, a cluster of air freight stations across Ranipet, Ambur, all the belts, feeding into the thing in a scheduled manner. What What freight suffers in India is you don't have scheduled freight operation. This is where we need to look, apply our thought, and maybe look at it first. Talk to the practitioners. Planners can come in later. Talk to the practitioners. So, for cargo infrastructure, not only that, air cargo has got many dimensions. And now we have focus on chips, on electronics, on value-added food products. You need a dust clear. Can you create that at your infrastructure even as you plan for it? It is not that I need an open shed. It doesn't make I'm subject to contamination. Are we looking at those things? These are the priorities that needs to be applied even before the planning stage to make a blueprint and then plan starting. These are my views as well. The logistics part.
As an expert in logistics, would you have a few like top 5 things that need to be there when considering cargo?
See, your cool chain is very, very important. Similarly, your chip making ancillary facilities for ITES is very important. It's very important. And in airport, I must be able to have a free trade zone for manufacturing. I must be able to have a free trade zone. Not only that, aviation related industries like MRO, parts bank. There are many things an airport can bring about. A parts bank for the aviation sector. These are the priorities that I would apply if I have to have an airport that is value added and not just a center for people to get to a cargo.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Girish, to you. You can also add, like from a manufacturing perspective, Chennai is definitely losing on competitiveness due to that. What could be done? And also the job opportunities, you can touch upon it, like the MRO that he suggested. If you can touch a bit upon it.
The present airport which we have identified, Parandur, I think it will ideally suit us. But as far as I know, I think it is only 2,500 or 2,600 acres. We have this dry port which is coming up in Mapped, in that area, which is again not very far, 20-30 kilometers. Like that, you have multimodal dry ports and container hubs which are there. Yes, these things can be met. Plus, we have a very robust industrial activity on either side of the upcoming airport. Sriperumbudur, Irungattukottai, the entire belt is full of MSMEs and big companies. On the other side, another 50 kilometers, you reach Vellore. You have the new upcoming Tata Jaguar plant which is coming up. And then further down is your Hosur Airport, Hosur, where you have the semiconductor hub which is coming up. So, luckily, if you are able to get another airport sanctioned by the central government in Hosur, then that need won't be there. So, Hosur can develop by itself. But this airport is rightly positioned. Sir, they have already preparing the DPR from the new airport from Nazaretpet to the Parandur. And high-speed line is also being built up, and it is rightly sitting on the new expressway, Chennai-Bangalore expressway, which is again awaiting the new proposed airport. So, connectivity-wise, it will be very good once it is up and running, which will eventually drive up all the infrastructure requirements in those areas. And we have all these SIPCOT, SEZs existing there. Now, there's no space in SIPCOT, existing in SIPCOT, so government is looking at acquiring more land for new SIPCOT so that area, the cluster is going to develop. So the plan is there. The DPR is being developed by CMRL. Nazaretpet is going to be a bigger hub. From there, the landing point of Bangalore Chennai expressway is in Sriperumbudur. It's not very far. They've already marked the pillar lines and all that, CMR right up to Parandur. So work is going on very fast. So once the airport is, their plan is like, once the airport is up and running by 2030 or 31, the metro rail also will be there. Plus they are coming up with HSR also, high speed rail. All these are on advanced stages. So hopefully we look forward to it.
Mr. Panindra Reddy, you have managed a lot of infrastructure projects, and like we all discussed, this airport is already late. So, and by 28, it already will outlive its capacity. So, when we plan now, what are the things that we should keep in mind so that we can have an airport that can perhaps at least go for 20, 30 years ahead?
At the planning stage itself, you bring in all the stakeholders from the industry, logistics, everybody, and then ensure that the plan is proper. And while the plan is still on, I think you'll have to bring on board all the stakeholders. I mean, the landowners, everybody into the planning process and ensure that there are no bottlenecks you encounter while the implementation is on. And a very important aspect is the structure for execution, the body for execution, whether you would have it in the public sector or the private sector. I think as far as the service industry is concerned, we've had excellent examples of private management. The quality of service has tremendously improved, and the response to the customer, that has also tremendously improved. Though once you have this kind of project, it becomes a natural monopoly. My primary instinct is that if there is a natural monopoly, it's better that public sector enters. But when there is a service involved, I think it's better that you have the private sector, because there is a reward for performance and no punishment for the non-performance. And customer orientation is much better. And the flexibility in terms of responding to the evolving needs is much better in a private organization. So a PPP or a private mode of implementation would be good, and that would ensure that decisions are taken quickly, funds are raised quickly, and you're not looking for decisions all the time and get into complicated situations. So speed of execution is very important.
Like for the next 15 to 20 years, how do we have a plan then for a new airport?
No, you see, if you start, I think you're looking at a time frame of 5 years at least to complete the execution, and that's the minimum. So, which means that you should reach the 0 point very quickly. You should not be discussing too long about the 0 point, because a lot of discussion has taken place and you have moved far ahead into the project phase. So, I think we'll have to close that gap immediately and get into execution.
One thing I want to add is another big market which we've lost out is the MICE industry, the meetings and international conferences. The space which you have is again a small Chennai Trade Center. Wherever at any forum when we go and talk, we don't have infrastructure for this. This is a huge activity. It's a huge business opportunity for all the stakeholders. So in the airport, surrounding the airport, you need to have an entire ecosystem for events. No, it brings in people from all over the world for meetings and conventions. You don't have a hall or the hotels and then existing infrastructure should come up around.
All the allied things related to it need to be developed.
As he rightly said, all these bigger cities in Asia, we have an existing wonderful MICE infrastructure in all the cities. All the bigger, the best of the best shows happen around the year in Dubai, in Singapore. So people just come in for those meetings, they stay there and attend the meeting. You bring a lot of people from different industry into your city, which again attracts a lot of investments also, side by side.
Yeah, like it's a showcase itself. Like you said, different airports. If you had this like a blueprint that you can draft for Chennai, what would be the top things that the new Chennai airport would be having?
First of all, it should be prepared for the next 30 to 35 years. So, which means the apron capacity should be, we should be thinking of handling at least 40 wide bodies, 25 to 40 wide bodies to begin with. That's where it starts. The second and the most important thing, the friction points for passengers, and I'm sorry, Mr. Krishnan, I'm just going over and over about passengers because that's something I'm very familiar with. But the friction point for passengers has to reduce. It's unbelievable the amount of friction that we have in the current airport. right from the customs, right from immigration, right from security
Right
check.
from the taxis.
Exactly. Like, if I get off the airport and if I need a cab, I mean, I probably need to walk halfway to Crumpet. That makes no sense. So we need to reduce the friction point. I'm going to tell you this. I've worked with a lot of investors myself over the last 25 years. And investment decisions, while may not be primarily determined by these kind of things, but it does have a bearing on whether or not somebody wants to invest in a particular state. I don't want to get into too much of details and costs. I don't want to say something inappropriate. But the point is, I personally know of certain investment decisions being held back because of the fact that they landed in a Chennai airport. Then from here they go to a Bangalore or a Hyderabad, and they believe that this actually signifies what's in store for us in terms of how we're going to do the business here. Simple things. If I have to fly from Chennai to Ahmedabad today, I think I have one direct flight, one or two direct flights, and look at Bangalore, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad. And that's how businesses are done, right? So the second thing is the first thing, of course, is we need to look at apron space prepared for the future. We need to look at passenger conveniences, and the frictions have to reduce. And if I were to give another very important point, I think aviation travel should not be cumbersome. So, which means make use of the space that's there. Make travel a bit more of a joyous experience. Again, I'm sorry to keep going back to Bangalore, but then you enter the Bangalore airport. It is not so much of a. It doesn't feel so cumbersome to go there. I mean, look at the retail space there. I can actually have a meal there. I can spend an entire day at the Bangalore airport without getting bored. Same is the case with Hyderabad. Same is the case with the T2 in Bombay. Take all the big airports. This is pretty much how it is. Our airport. So I think that's something that we need to work on, and that calls for a conscious will. I'm just going to suffice it to say at this point in time that there's something called a multiplier effect in every investment. For every rupee that you spend, how much of returns it generates to the state. The multiplier for aviation, if you're not a hub, if I'm not trying to build Chennai as a hub like Singapore, Tokyo, or Dubai, the multiplier is still 5 to 6x. So for every rupee that the state spends, it's going to start earning 5 rupees or 6 rupees. If you decide to make it the Southeast Asia hub, like how Mr. Krishnan said, we are naturally best. We are blessed with a very, very strategic geographic location. If we do it, if you're a hub, places like Singapore and Dubai have actually done it at 10x. For every rupee that the government spends, it earns 10 to 11 rupees. Imagine what we can do with that kind of an income for the state. Imagine the labor and the employment multiplier. For a non-hub is 4.5x. For a hub, it is 7x. I think we need to stop seeing the second airport as a luxury. It is an absolute necessity for the growth of our state. Today, we're lacking behind in the airport. We've fallen to the sixth. This should not be the reason why our state's overall performance also starts falling to our state. That's my only submission.
It's the gateway or the identity for a city when someone enters in. Mr. Reddy, would you like to touch on the economic aspect that a new airport could bring in, like the multiplier effect that he stated? Would you like to add further on it?
As they've already said, lack of capacity is itself stifling growth. Stopping new opportunities, thereby tax revenue for the state, thereby employment opportunities for the state, and that's the opportunity lost. And that's what is the opportunity there available for us, and we should grab it.
Several cities have not just stopped with one airport; they've gone to 2 and 3 more airports, considering the demand. You wanted to add something, please?
On the economic aspect, is ROC the only ground for creating an airport? Today, you're all looking at ROC. And then you have a viability gap fund. And there is confusion in how this is calculated. And there is always arbitration between the players. There are fundamental policy issues that needs to be addressed if you want to fast track creation of a new airport. This is something I'm telling you. There is a huge gap between perception from the bureaucrats to the
If I can just weigh in here, running an airport for private airports if you look at the financials of the private airport players, it's one of the most profitable businesses to run. So honestly, if you were to privatize this, sir, I'm pretty sure you would have seen a lot of these kind of proposals where running an airline company in India is borderline suicidal, but running an airport in the country is a very, very profitable one. So if somebody were to come and say, I need a viability gap funding, yeah, which is quite sad because on a standalone basis, a well-run airport can give you a margin of about 30 to 35%. It's a very profitable one, but the operational word is not the profitability, it's well-run airport.
Then why are we not able to develop all these small airports like Puducherry and all? Somehow we are lacking. Even they've tried many times to develop Puducherry as a tourism hub and all.
Girish, that's a fantastic point. See, I'm going to take a step back, and this is my view. If you're looking at tier 2, tier 3 cities, one of the first airports to be privatized was actually Cochin. And Cochin even now it's not a tier 1 city, right? I mean, it can't be compared to the metros. But CIAL back then was a profitable profitable airport. So if you want to convert Puducherry as a hub, I think it takes two to tango. One, I think there needs to be some tourism related activities that we need to spur on. But having said which, probably try giving it to the hands of a private player, as you very rightly said, sir. There is motivation for people, for private parties to be able to see profits. I have a feeling it will work. I think we need to privatize a lot more airlines. We missed the bus in Chennai. When Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Cochin, Bombay, they all got privatized, we got left out.
We and Kolkata, we both were not privatized.
That's right. So, to answer your question, probably try privatizing some of these Udan airports. It may actually start developing.
I was told Trichy has got much better connectivity to the South Asian countries than Trichy airport.
Oh yeah, I was with AirAsia and Chennai, Kuala Lumpur. I think we used to have two flights a day. Trichy KL direct had 3 flights at that point.
Like you pointed also, I think connectivity is an issue. Like many of us have to travel to other cities to go catch anything, and I think with the cargo also it's the same. So can there be much more smaller hubs like he pointed, and what are the advantages that it would bring in the longer run if you have smaller hubs as such?
Unlike a passenger, cargo is not as time bound or as rushed as long as I have a predictability on the travel. If I'm saying I'm going to get it in 12 hours or 14 hours, the industry is okay with it. The industry is not going to do it. But to create that robust, predictable ecosystem for cargo, madam, I'll give you a small example. If a factory breaks down in Sriperumbudur, I as a logistics service provider, if I have to air freight dispatch, I will bring it into Bangalore, clear it in 120 minutes, and have it trucked to Sriperumbudur the next 4.5 hours. It's as simple as that. Logistics works. And this is a doable problem. It happens. It happens. Otherwise, Bangalore airport will not be holding a road show in Chennai every year to woo customers. They do it every year to woo customers. To tell them, see, there used to be an old advertisement of Air India. It said, ship by air is cheaper. Now I would twist it. They say, bring it to Bangalore, it's more efficient.
Like I think the point is laid, we are delayed, we are losing in a lot of fronts already. So if suppose we had this airport, what would be the major advantages each of you could take? Like on what terms would be the advantages compared to the other cities? By people, by...
See, you already have an established industrial base. Not only the traditional industries, you also have the sunrise industries coming up. So you have a mix of both. That being the case, an airport that is efficient, that can look towards the trade and which has no processes, it's highly automated. That means you are catalyzing further investment opportunities and the turnaround. Today, please understand, the order to delivery cycle is highly compressed, which means what? More and more my choice for air freight becomes a necessity, not a luxury. When that being the case, if I am able to give you an infrastructure that can meet these demands. If I can handle cargo without it being contaminated, without my cool chain being not broken, which is secure, that is also another important aspect. My cargo which is secure and which can fly as predicted. This would be a huge fillip to the already robust industrial climate.
For me, again, it is going to be the passenger convenience, baggage handling, all put together. The moment you enter the airport and you exit the airport, even if you have connectivity, as he said, if you are able to stay in the airport for 3 or 4 hours, it has to be pleasant. You can sit and do your work, catch up on your lost time by sitting there. We've done that in Bangalore. So we would want something similar in Chennai. And the once you exit also, the baggage handling should be right. Immigration, again, it has to be much more faster. All these things put together, that experience itself should be very pleasant for us to go in and come out of the airport rather than think, oh my God, I've landed, I don't know when I'm going to get out of the airport and when I'm going to get my car and get into the cab or when I'm going to reach. That thought is always there when you land in Chennai.
Said they also have this potential to reshape entire residential, commercial, all aspects of it. So, like you pointed, we can have hubs or other integrating factors into the airport also. So, what reshaping factors do you think that when a new airport comes, what are the other developments or associated developments that it can bring? Can you touch upon that?
Residential areas automatically will come up. Even now, once the airport has been identified, the land for this is the place where we are going to come up with the next new airport. Already, builders have all started looking for land parcels around that area. The townships will eventually definitely come up. So the only thing is the government has the wherewithal and the machinery to come up with all the maize infrastructure, which only the government will be able to do it. But the related infrastructure, naturally, by the time once the airport groundbreaking starts and by the time airport is ready, I'm sure all the necessary residential areas, township, and everything will be in place. That much I'm very sure because, yes,
One important factor is a new airport can really boost the medical tourism of the state.
yeah.
Phenomenal potential exists for boosting the medical tourism.
Again, it is very close to Vellore. CMC is another hub. And Chennai is a medical capital of India. We are trying to bring in so many patients into our city. Airport is one major factor which will boost us into a different league altogether.
See, for me, I think a new airport will propel the growth of the state in the sense that manufacturing is only 50% of the story. I think the remaining 50% is does the decision making reside in the state. We don't want to become the global outsourcing hub of the volume driven work. I think a new airport and better connectivity will ensure that the decision makers start setting shop in Chennai. Today, the decision makers of this part of the world sit either in Dubai, Singapore, Hong Kong. This is where decision makers sit. You don't talk about Vietnam being a decision making hub. You know what I mean? Similarly, even within India, the decision makers sit in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore. We really want those decision makers to sit in Chennai. You want investments, not necessarily just as a manufacturing hub. You want decision making and service related activities to hub out of Chennai, and that, in my view, can happen only, and I'm telling this emphatically, only if we have another airport in the city.
Mr. Phanindra Reddy, can you also touch upon the same? When Chennai has a new airport, what would it be? What would it mean for Chennai, investment wise, opportunities wise?
So it's regaining a lost opportunity long ago, and at least you can't really get back all that opportunity that is lost, but at least you will ensure that you lose no further. And to add to this issue, it is not just the airport, it is also the expressway that leads to the airport. And unless it is planned along with the airport, what you're seeing on the GST road, you will see on the Bangalore highway also. It doesn't help. So again, you'll be cribbing, and costs keep going up unless you plan ahead.
Without this expansion happening, what is the main risk that we are seeing right now? or the challenge?
Madam, let me tell you, the ATMs at Chennai Airport is going to be exhausted in 2 years' time. Just have 2 years' time before you can't get any further aircraft landing in Chennai. Where does that lead you? You are choking, it is harakiri. It is absolute harakiri. So, till such time you are going to get, you may talk about an extended runway. The second runway doesn't operate in Chennai. You know that. It is there more for the cosmetic value of it than the usage value. And we have reached the point of saturation. You can't go any further. Leave alone expansion, even the operational efficiency is going to be very, very severely curtailed in 2 years' time. We are going to witness that. It's waiting to happen. And we have not woken up to these times. Neither the user nor the bureaucrats nor the industry has woken up to these times. There has to be a sense of urgency to move forward with a purpose and, as he said, with set deadlines. Otherwise, it is going to be very, very difficult. We have built a wall around ourselves. That's what you're going to be imprisoned.
Let me give you a perspective to this. We are on the threshold of what we call as a generational shift from an industry perspective in the form of AI boom and in the form of global capacity centers. I mean, these are generation, once in a generation kind of a boom that happens. I think all of us here will agree that Chennai has always been the preferred destination for global capability centers. But if you're looking at, a GCC will hire nothing less than 3,000 to 4,000 employees at the minimum. Now, if you want at least 20, 30 such GCCs to come here, you need to have capacity. And in 2 years' time, if I'm going to max out in the current airport, trust me, if I'm an investor, I'm not going to be putting my money here. And as we say, Hyderabad is a 9 hours drive from here and Bangalore is a 6 hours drive from here. It makes sense to go there. Secondly, AI. If we are looking at setting up hubs for AI, and we want to attract AI players into the city. And bad enough, we lost out on the IT boom because we were actually ahead of Bangalore. We started the IT boom in Chennai much before Bangalore did, and we lost out there. We don't want to lose out AI, and if we have to attract talent, connectivity is a must. The existing airport is grossly insufficient to attract talent, and therefore, I have a feeling the implications would be that we will end up losing key investments.
One thing which I would want to add with regards to the infrastructure is, yes, about the new airport is coming up. The previous government, the one had identified land parcel of about 2,500 acres, knowledge city near Maduranthakam, and another education city hubs and all that. A lot of new universities, the foreign universities are ready to come up and set shops here. I'm not saying scrap that project. Similar land parcels can be identified around the new airport, knowledge city, which is planned in Maduranthakam. Yes, connectivity between Maduranthakam to Parandur. Luckily, Tamil Nadu is becoming the non-leather capital. We have non-leather factories being set up all over the place, Perambur, Sindhivadam, everywhere. So that is another major manufacturing activity which is coming up left, right, and center from companies based out of Taiwan. So you can, as Sir rightly said, that bring in all the stakeholders on board, talk to them, identify what all are the facilities which you require. Okay, 6,000 acres for this, probably we'll have to acquire a huge part of the land for other activities and then plan it so that by the time the airport is ready, all the other related infrastructure is also. Otherwise, it is going to be again a hassle coming from knowledge city, and ECR you have the new university hub which is going to come up. From there, you'll have to come to the new airport, which is going to make our
Connectivity
life very
again. Should we already be planning the third airport? Are we?
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Because if you have to reach the Viksit Bharat, certainly your second airport, like your metros, the day it is operational, it would be full.
Yeah, one airport could be this side, one airport could be on the other side near DST, because they saw 5 locations before finalizing on this airport. The other suitable location near Madurai, probably for the south side now growth which is happening there, you can have another airport. All the big cities have 3 airports.
The way you look at the focus future, you're going to have airports which are specialized airports, not a general airport, especially on the freight side. And that being the case, a third airport makes a lot of sense. I can have an exclusive airport to deal with electronic items issues with the environment, highly automated. These things can happen. And if you have to have other interests also, that dilutes the intensity of the airport. So such airports, specialized niche airports, are the way forward.
Unless we implement the second airport, we start the second airport, nobody will believe us. Our credibility will be very low. So, you start a project, midway through you shelve it because of various reasons, and then you talk about another side, you will more or less encounter the same issues. Anywhere you go, the same social and environmental issues. You will have to handle them. You will have to provide mitigative measures and get going. Otherwise, I think nobody will believe you. No investor will believe you. No infrastructure company will believe you.
Do you have anything to add to that?
For me, this still is the first airport that we're going to build. What we have in Meenambakam is probably a prototype at this stage. So let's get done with the first one and then look at the second and then the third is what I would say.
Like, what are the main aspects that it should have? Like, it should be very automated and technologically advanced from a cargo perspective, from a passenger perspective. If you think that what the new airport should have, any one point is.
Today I have airports in the world which are highly automated.
No, though we are late in this weekend,
You may
have a lot of things to.
One is borrowing ideas, one is creating thought.
Inspirations from.
Possibly, but let's first borrow ideas and borrow them right. And then at the third idea,
The best of the technology is available in the world. The best of the technology is there, and luckily India has grown so much that we have the wherewithal to bring in all the latest technologies. So just a matter of you start the project, then we can get it done immediately. We have the best of the best civil companies here in India who can get it on time. As we said, all the other factors are mitigated. And then you start the project. We are there with you. Finish it within this deadline. Yes, we can get the best into our city.
Madam, the simple thought is an airport is a destination and not a gateway. If you're going to start with that, an airport is a destination in itself and not a gateway, you will be getting it.
I would probably think we are well advanced from a technology perspective. For instance, the Digiyatra that we have is one of a kind. It's an amazing thing that we've done. So I'm pretty sure technology, once we have the basic infra in place, the tech infra should be easier. I have that hope and faith in our country. If I were to give a few recommendations from a advanced technology perspective, I think we need to get the basic tech at the apron side right. For instance, the current Chennai airport cannot land a Cat 3, meaning if the visibility is low, like Delhi airport is a Cat 3 airport, which means even if the visibility is very low, certain aircrafts can land. If we hit that visibility in Chennai, you can't land because our airport is not equipped. Similarly, the ACDM, which is a very, very advanced, it's called the airport. It's called the airport CDM, which effectively is a very tech-enabled ATC system. I think we need that. I think there's a lot more of those things that needs to come in. We need to be equipped to be able. We need to be equipped to handle an A380. That's the dream. I want to fly out of an A380 from Chennai. That's the dream.
I think like we all know that we need an airport, but how fast it comes makes all the difference right now. Maybe we can open for a few questions.
Good evening, sir. My question is to Mr. Pannington specifically. All of you have weighed in specifically about the impact the airport is going to have on the economy. In that context, yesterday, the Chief Minister, during his speech at the Niti Aayog, had stated that, Tamil Nadu wants to be $1.5 trillion economy by 2036. What would be the implications if this airport fails to take off? Will there be any implications? Number one. Number two, if the government were to find alternative sites, if they were to go on that path, what would be the implications then? Because it is said that it takes at least about 7 to 10 years for a city to build an airport.
No, we have excellent infrastructure, good trunk infrastructure, but this is a glaring gap which we need to overcome in a time-bound manner. And I hope if it is just a location which has objection, I think they can. Experience shows that anywhere you go, you will have the same problem. You will encounter the same problem, same social issues, same environmental issues. you will have to go through the environmental impact assessment study. You will have to come up with the environmental problem mitigation measures and get your environmental clearance and have to implement the project anywhere you go. So, but our decision has to be taken very quickly. And as I was mentioning, you will have to, the 0 point is, is what you should have reached long back. At least, where we cannot delay any further. This will be a critical gap in terms of achieving that objective. But of course, there are many opportunities. I mean, this state has very great strengths, and but this gap has to be overcome.